degenerating. I want to describe the world when I define improving more God consciousness, when I define degenerating less God consciousness.
I think most people disagree with you.
On the premise.
On the premise, which is why it's degenerating.
Oh, not bad. That was a...
Can you elaborate on God consciousness, how you think
Sure.
about it?
God being a real part of my life. Day after day, minute after minute, every single second of the day, and my decisions flowing out of 613 mitzvahs as defined in the Torah, flowing out of a firm reality of God giving us the Torah at Mount Sinai. If any of those points are question marks, then a person has to go into the investigation of each of those points individually, especially Torah from Sinai. We're going to begin most of the conversation today, and a lot of what we do in this class after that part of the conversation, even though we do go into the rational evidence, even though that word it's not my favorite word to use, even though it is evidence beyond a reasonable doubt of Torah from Sinai, but we're already going from the discussion of Torah from Sinai is real and solid, and now we're going into the consciousness that it gave us. But if a person has a question on that, then you should investigate that as well. You want more on God consciousness?
No, I just want to hear your definition of it.
Tzvi Meyer Zilberberg, a great tzaddik in Yerushalayim, had a famous line. He said, "I'm very open-minded. I have an open head. I'm very open-minded. I'm just not so open-minded that my brain falls right out of my head." And it's open. It's just, it's not like it doesn't fall right out. You've got to keep that brain in there. So we have to learn to be open-minded, but keep our brains in there and make sure we think things through in a real way. But also be honest with oneself. When I'm not really questioning something because I want the answer, I'm questioning just to make problems. That a person has to do some soul searching and see, am I really questioning, and is my reasoning and my logic coming from a place of a sincere search for the truth? Or is my searching and my questioning coming from a place of just making problems? Which we don't mind. This is a place that we accept all opinions, but a person should be honest with himself where it's coming from. That's something to reflect upon. Shall we continue our journey together? Yeah? Yeah. Let's go. Now that we mentioned, for those that are just joining us today, now that we mentioned about making blessings on learning Torah, we talked about, thank you, someone just cheered up there. Like, woo! Now that we mentioned making blessings on learning Torah, now we're going, and why that's so essential, important, because that creates meaning behind whose Torah I'm learning. I'm not just learning Torah because I want to be smart. And I was going to go to Oxford or Yale, and I went to Yeshiva instead because, it's just another academic institution. But rather, I'm in Yeshiva because I want a relationship with God. That's God consciousness. I want a relationship with God in my life. Which also means, what's your name, my dear friend?
Jason.
Jason. So Jason was asking what I consider God consciousness is that I make decisions in my life with God in mind. For example, I would say married consciousness or happily married consciousness is that I make decisions in my life with my wife in mind. Let me give you an example of non-happy married consciousness. It's the guy's anniversary. His wife is texting him, can't wait to see you, it's going to be great, I'm making dinner, short ribs, like your favorite stuff. Great, can't wait. And then one of the boys at the end of work comes over and is like, the game? You come with us? I got boxing. The game? He's like, the game? You have seats to the game? Forgets about the anniversary, heads to the game. Starts getting texts and all sorts of things. I'm at the game. You can't go to the game. It's your anniversary. That's called non-happy married consciousness. Because if it was happy married consciousness, you'd be thinking about your wife before making decisions. God consciousness, what's called happy God relationship consciousness is every second I'm making decisions with God in mind. And you don't become a weirdo being like, God, 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 God. That's just weird. The same way they don't think about your wife, like, wife, 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 wife. Even though people have on their phones, like, the wife, calling, the wife, it's not like that. It's that there's a lens that you see the world through called, I live with a wife that I love. And therefore, all my decisions are going to be thinking about how is this going to be good for us. So too, God consciousness means everything that I'm doing is in this conscious space of how is this going to improve the relationship between God and I. Getting married, having kids, picking a job, everything. The kind of food that you eat. Now, that's awesome. And imagine you could do that every second of your day. God says, I will give you the opportunity to have a deep, intimate relationship with me. Just keep me in mind. Just don't throw me to the side. So that's what we're all about over here, speaking about that. So we said that Torah is the ultimate way to generate this God consciousness. And we said that consciousness is created if we remember that it's God's Torah. And we're not just doing this because of some academic exercise. This is not like calculus. This is not biology. This is Hashem's Torah. So now that we made a blessing over the Torah, let's actually jump in to the first piece of Torah that you learn in the morning. Anybody know what the first piece of Torah that you learn is? The first topic of Torah. Yes, Sebastian. Oh, the first word of Torah that you say, what does that mean? Yivarechecha.
May God bless you.
The first word of Torah that we say in the morning is the blessing. It's the Kohanic blessing. Any priests here? Kohanim? Yeah? Zach, you're the man.
Kohanim.
That's right. Yeah? So about your Kohen? You're surrounded by royalty here. It's amazing. The first thing that we say in the morning is God wanting to bless us. Meaning your first interface with God's Torah is, I love you and I just want you to have blessing. Yivarechecha. By the way, you want to know what Yivarecha, what type of blessing it means? Go look up Rashi. Yivarechecha. You know what Yivarecha is referring to? May God bless you. What kind of blessing? Money. The first blessing in the entire Torah that we talk about in Torah of the day is may God give us blessing, money, financial abundance. Yes, my friend.
Is that before Modeh Ani or after?
After. Modeh Ani is the first thing that we do when our soul comes back down into our body right away in the morning.
So then how is how is Yevarecha the first thing?
Yevarecha is the first content of Torah. Actual text Torah learning.
Like in the Chumash?
In the Chumash. It's from the Chumash, from the Bible. From the Bible, my friends. May the Lord bless you. What type of blessing is that referring to? Financial abundance. Who wants that? Especially with inflation. Let's go. Financial abundance. There's enough to go around. We want abundance for all. But we want also people to know how to use your abundance in a healthy way. Financial abundance. Yivarechecha. But where's that abundance going to come from? The might of your hands. That's already the religious answer. I want the... What would you have said without the religious answer? Yeah. Putting in some hard hours. This is my money. This is my money. This is my money. I earned this. It's my money. Would you have any strength in your arms if God did not give your arms any strength? Would your brain be able to think if God wasn't shooting those neurons? The answer is no. Everything is a blessing from Hashem. So the money is really all from Hashem. That's why when you really want to raise, who do you go to? Your boss. Yeah, I get it. You go to Hashem. Hashem is giving you the raise. He's going to do it through your boss, likely. It could be he'll just put the money in your account. Anybody have an experience where they were looking for money and they chased 50 different things and none of them panned out, and they put tons of work into those 50 options, and all of a sudden one option they barely put energy into, the money came in from the side thing? You had that, Jason? I've had that a bunch of times in my life. Like all the things that would have made sense that my money should come through, 50 things I invested in, and I put a lot of work into it. And then one of the things that I barely invested in, and all of a sudden like there was the big payoff. Because God is constantly trying to, excuse my language, smack us to say, wake up. You think that it's you, it's all from me. So he'll do things like that just to wake us up, to know, well, why don't I realize that it's all coming from you, Hashem? It's all coming from you, Hashem. And therefore you become less surprised when I put effort into 50 things. Okay, it might come this direction, but it might come some other way. Become less frustrated also. Yeah, but I put so much time into this and nothing's panning out. Okay, I'm going to try something else. God will find a way to give me what I need. You can't be lax. You have to be a hard worker to put in your part, but to know that it's ultimately coming from God. And the first piece of Torah that we learn in the morning is Yevarecha. May Hashem just give us blessing. Money. And you know what the second word is? Hashem. Yevarecha Hashem. It's only coming from you, Hashem. You know what the third word is? V'yishmerecha. You know what that means? And may God protect you. What is He exactly protecting us from? Interesting. In this case, you know what the protection is from?
Himself.
Somebody taking the money. God, you're the one that gives the money. It's from you. And also protected. Even once I have it, that it shouldn't be swindled away. It shouldn't be taken. No damaging things should come. Hashem protect it. You gave it. The people who get money sometimes lose it. Quick. Hashem, you're the one that gives the money, and you're also the one that can protect it to make sure it doesn't go anywhere. Just think about it. This is the first 3 words of Torah that a Jew learns in the morning. God, you provide the money. It's all from you, and protect it. Make sure that it stays. That I can use it in holy ways and not squander it in bad ways and have it taken away. What's the next word we learn? Yo'er Hashem panav elecha. We are asking that God should shine His face upon us. What do you say about that, Daniel? God should shine. I love those glasses. Oh my goodness.
God's already shining His face upon us.
He was shining them so much that He needed glasses like that. That's what I'm saying.
It's God's reflection.
Oh. You should check out Daniel Moyal's hottest new tracks. 3 weeks is a bit of a question just because of music, but as soon as the 3 weeks are done, one of the best artists in the Jewish world right here.
Wow, thank you. Thank you so much.
With pleasure, my friend. Pleasure.
I have an acapella album out.
Oh, and Daniel Moya has an a cappella album out. Get involved. Get involved, my friends. A cappella is totally legit for the 3 weeks. Okay? May God shine His face. Now, does God have a face? Jason, is God like a big man in the sky or something? No? How do you know?
It doesn't make sense for something infinite to have a face.
Okay, that for me, that was Aristotle's problem also, and I'm very comfortable with that as well.
But He has a hand.
No?
Same problem.
Yeah.
With a strong hand and an outstretched arm. Anybody heard that one before?
Yeah.
Passover. It's like, what's up with that? What's your friend? What's your name, my dear friend?
I'm James.
James? Shalom, James. Your Hebrew name?
No.
Yeah, can I call you Yaakov? Oh, Yaakov, God has a hand, an arm, face.
I don't think so.
It seems to talk about God's hand, face, arm. Anybody would want to really say yeah, He's got that hand? No? It's a safe space. You can take that position if you want. You're going to have to defend it, but you could take it.
When you has to. He has to have all the above.
Why? What's your name, my friend?
Because I'm Josh.
Josh, hi there. Moshe Chaim.
Moshe, nice to meet you. Because God, we can't limit God. And by saying He has no face, then we're limiting God. And that doesn't make any sense.
Oh.
God is infinite, and He has to.
That's pretty good. Josh is saying we're limiting God. Do you agree with that? Anybody think it's limiting God? Yeah?
Yeah, by saying he doesn't have something.
So,
I'd say both are limiting God is the problem, right?
yeah, so the problem with that, it's the same question as like, can God make a microwave burrito so hot that he can't eat it? That was the question.
I think that, isn't it usually can we make a stone too big?
I had a student who used microwave burrito, and it made me crack up the first time I heard it. So I decided to use that as I just kept going with that example because it like catches people by surprise. Like wait for the rock one, yeah, and then microwave burrito. So it's funny, right? It just makes you smile. So the question, it's a klutz question because the entire question is starting from bad premises of putting God into finite boxes. God is infinite; He's not limited. So you might say, but then aren't you limiting Him? So He's not limited. He's infinite. Means any finite limits Him. The finiteness limits Him. The problem, though, is the Torah describes God with hands and faces. And we're talking about right now, God's face. So the answer is this is allegorical. Or better yet, I'm going to tell you something a bit crazy right now. God does have a face. The problem is, and He does have hands. The problem is, you think that you look at your hands, you're like, oh, hands? Oh, so your perspective when I say hand is finite hands. So now you read hands. Oh, the Bible talks about hand. Oh, God's hand. So you think of your hand and then you just like put it in the sky, it's going to, whoa, like this huge hand. The problem is from our perspective, when we think of a hand, we put our finite lens and push it onto God's hand. No, God has a hand. He is whatever a hand is. Our hand is just an analogy. Worthy analogy. He has a face, but not like this. Your face is the analogy of what God's real face is. Your face is just hinting to what face is. Hand, yeah, we have a hand, it's finite. But hands do stuff. Hands let you act in this world. Oh, so this is a hand, but this is just an analogy. This is telling me about acting, about utilizing, about doing something. So when we talk about God's hand, there's no physical hand. It's referring to the way that God is acting in the world. A face is interesting. A face, our face, we look at physical faces, but a face is referring to when you want to show love to somebody, you face them. When you dislike them, you turn away from them. When we talk about God's face, we talk about radiance, the way God, so to speak, radiating, showing favor. So use your face as an analogy of God's face. God has a face, but it's not physical. It's the qualities, it's the ideas, it's the concept of face. Eyes. Eyes mean observation. So don't think of like these big eyeballs in the sky. You know, like the ball itself up there. Eyes mean I'm in awareness of things. So God is in absolute awareness. We talk about God's eyes are on the land. It means total awareness, supervision of all things at all times. So my eyeball becomes a teaching to try to grasp the concept of God's eyes, i.e. supervision. And so too it is with every single part of your body, by the way. That's why the prophet says, "Mibisari echse Eloika," from my body do I see the Lord. I.e., when I look at my body and I start to examine the way my body works, that's why Jews have a big obligation to take care of your bodies. And we tell the world, take care of your body. This is on loan. And it's here to teach you things. You can't abuse this thing. You have to take care of this body. Is that this body is here to teach you the way that God is using, so to speak, his limbs, kaviyachol, which are not limbs, they're conceptual. Like legs, eyes, heart, brain, arms, hands, and so forth. And the more you get into more Kabbalistic literature, it goes through details of this stuff. Like what stuff means what. And by the way, if you notice, this can be found in certain books like Sefer Charedim, etc., and Rabbi Nachman's works. If you notice, God forbid, we should all be very healthy, but if there's parts of your body that start malfunctioning, God forbid, they're all signs from God that something's up, and you need to fix something that relates to that part of the body. Like the eyes. Means maybe the way that you're looking at people, there's a problem. Or your hands, or your liver. It all has meaning. And to look in the underlying reasons behind why things are happening. So as soon as we ask God to bless us and give us financial security and blessing, and remembering that it's all coming from you, we say, Hashem, now with this financial blessing, we want you to shine yourself upon us, which means you. Shine yourself upon us. Guide us. Guide us in the ways of your Torah. That we should feel that you're close to us all the time. We should feel this all the time. Bezrat Hashem. Amen.
Amen.
Chazak ve'ematz. Have a wonderful day, my dear friends. Kol tuv. Thank you, Tavi. Much blessing.